Donald Trump knows that we know he knows that we know he's covering up the Epstein files, that he's covering up his terrible economic numbers. And he knows that we know that he has never been weaker before, not just in his presidency, but in his life. Donald Trump's cognitive and physical decline is obvious to anyone who sees it, and it is why he is panicking, because above all else, he wants to pretend like he's the strong man, tough guy. But there is no more insecure person in America than Donald Trump. It is why he is screaming, melting down, blowing his top, and Carolyn Lewis is trying to hide it all as Donald Trump freaks out over new reports over his health. We are going to get into it all. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already, and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button, because it goes a long way, and supporting our work. Now, before we get into this new report of Trump absolutely losing his mind, and Carolyn LEAVITT panicking over the fact that he just keeps getting caught sleeping, I want to start with some of those times Trump getting caught sleeping. Chris Hayes broke down and mocked a little bit right here.
Today, he went on a disgusting tirade about Somali immigrants, many of whom are Americans, that even by his own degraded standards was egregiously racist.
Somalia is considered by many to be the worst country on earth. I don't know. I haven't been there. I won't be there anytime soon, I hope. But what Somalia, what the Somalian people have done to Minnesota is not even believable. It's not even believable. And a lot of it starts with the governor. A lot of it starts with Barack Hussein Obama, because that's when people started coming in. And you have to have people come in that are going to love our country, cherish our country. They want to kiss our country goodnight.
There's a lot about that appearance that was both strange and things that we've come to sort of see as normal. You may have noticed Trump kept his hand under the table there. In fact, he appeared to be going out of his way to hide his right hand specifically. That's the same hand that just yesterday was covered with makeup and Band-Aids, the same hand that has had large bruises on it in the past. As for the substance of his remarks, Trump has always been a bigot, going back many decades. He's clearly having a harder time keeping rants like that inside. In fact, today's spectacle comes after a similar tirade yesterday. Also, he's repeating himself a lot. That one was during a cabinet meeting, mostly focused on Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth and those pretty clearly unlawful boat strikes, although admittedly, Trump seemed to sleep through quite a bit of it. In fact, at one point, and I think this might be an indelible image of this entire presidency when all is said and done, at one point, Secretary of State Marco Rubio was heaping praise on the great man for his singular leadership, as the man next to him, the president, appeared to be nodding off.
This war is going on, and the president is trying to end it, not because, listen, we got a million things to focus on in the world as a country, but he's the only leader in the world that can help end it. And that's why even as we speak to you now, Steve Witkoff is in Moscow trying to find a way to end this war, to save lives of 9,000 people, Mr. President, as you know, are dying every week.
Have you ever seen a more awake man? A more virile man? A man of more implacable energy than this man here, Mr. President. I'm talking about you.
I brought this up in a previous video, but it is. So Donald Trump asked to always talk about how Joe Biden, just one day of his presidency, was at the beach, you know, laying out, enjoying the rays, having a good time. And he's like, I'll take a little nap. I'm at the beach. I got the waves crashing. I'm in Rehoboth. It's a beautiful day. I'll maybe take a 45-minute siesta. And Trump's like, I can't believe, quite frankly, that you'd sleep in front of other people. It's like at the beach, where you're supposed to relax. Is Donald Trump familiar with these concepts? Like, are they foreign to him? Is it because he's afraid to take his shirt off and us to see that big disgusting blob he's been hiding? You can't cover that up with splotchy makeup, Donald. But Trump literally sleeps in front of national audiences. Fox is broadcasting his Oval Office meetings. And he's taking a snooze. It's the same with the cabinet. His eyes they're so heavy. So who is he to talk? Seriously, it is hysterical that he thinks he can make fun of Joe Biden for sleeping where you're supposed to. and he's falling asleep before our very eyes, and he wants us all to ignore it. But we're not, and it's why he's losing his mind. Trump, 79, is fuming over coverage of his deteriorating health. President Donald Trump is raging over snowballing reports of his apparent cognitive and physical decline. This week was apparently particularly bad, as footage of him appearing to fight off sleep during a cabinet meeting led to a new string of reports comparing him to his predecessor, Joe Biden, whom he'd famously dubbed Sleepy Joe and mocked for his old age. Sources familiar with internal discussions say Trump, 79, was left fuming as a growing stream of reporting from publications, including the New York Times, the Washington Post, and CNN, scrutinized the signs of his apparent deteriorating health, according to Sateo, all of them following the lead of the Daily Beast, which has been cataloging his growing frailty for months before others stopped ignoring it. This week, AFP published an opinion piece titled Sleepy Donald Trump's Health Under Fresh Scrutiny, while the Daily Beast published another headline, How Sleepy Trump, 79 became the DC sequel nobody wanted to see. Sources close to the elderly president, both inside and outside of the administration, told Zoteo the negative press coverage of the health angers him more than almost any issue other than the Jeffrey Epstein scandal. Trump will fixate on the offending news outlet or coverage for several days. The publication noted, he is sensitive to being compared, even if not explicitly, to Sleepy Joe, a Trump advisor said, especially if it's coming from a reporter he already hates. Trump's frustration has grown as he faces increased scrutiny for exhibiting many of the same signs of physical and cognitive slippage he once mocked Biden for. Media coverage has picked up on Trump's display of troubling signs of mental decline, which has in turn fueled concerns about his fitness for the presidency. In a statement to Zeteo, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt defended Trump's condition, saying, as the president's physician, Dr. Sean Barbara has made clear time and again, and as the American people see with their own eyes every single day, Donald Trump remains in excellent overall health. Trump's relentless work ethic, unmatched energy, and historic accessibility stand in sharp contrast to what we saw during the past 4 years, when the failing legacy media intentionally covered up Joe Biden's serious mental and physical decline from the American people. She added, I don't even know. I guess, like the hypocrisy is baked into it all. But how an administration that has been defined by what it has covered up? If we're talking about Jeffrey Epstein, if we're talking about Donald Trump's tanking economy, if we're talking about Donald Trump's tanking, Donald Trump himself is falling apart. How you can accuse the media of running cover for Joe Biden? Fox, literally on several occasions, has had hosts, namely Sean Hannity, brag about the fact that they don't talk about Epstein. Sean Hannity went on a radio show and bragged about how he did a whole hour in which he wouldn't even mention Epstein, like they are talking openly about their propaganda. And you're saying that it's Democrats who are covering up. Donald Trump quite literally covers up his hand with makeup to hide the bruises from his deteriorating health. How is that not a cover-up? You have put, little obstacles in the way. There was a plane in the Oval Office, and a chair used to block his cankles. He sits behind a desk so no one can see him falling over. He covers up his hand with his other. That is a cover-up. Get out of here with the legacy media. It's all Jake Tapper wanted to talk about. Maybe now, finally, he'll bring up Donald Trump's cognitive decline. But of course, that is not the only cover-up. We are seeing right now as Pete Hegseth desperately tries to cover his ass for his war crimes, for his leaks. And it's all getting called out by Senator Mark Warner right here.
About that mission and about that attack that Admiral Bradley could not answer?
I had questions both on process that I've got to get answers for, but the underlying theory of the case, and you mentioned this earlier in your opening, that obviously these drug cartels are dangerous. We need to stop them. But the idea that they are now being classified as foreign terrorist organizations, similar to Al-Qaeda or ISIS, and that anyone involved, in a sense, their argument is the drugs are the equivalent almost of bombs in terms of previous actions, is I think a legal theory that doesn't pass the smell test. I'm not sure that we can hold General Kane or Admiral Bradley accountable for that underlying legal decision. And I also think there will be evidence, particularly when these two individuals were on the boat, and I obviously after it had been virtually destroyed, and even in some cases signaling that what some could interpret as efforts to surrender. There is a judgment call there that I've got real questions about in terms of subsequent action. But again, this is so serious in terms of our American military's reputation and how we are viewed both in America and around the world that I want all the facts. I don't want to race to judgment, but it was a chilling time.
So you all saw the same video today. And we hear Senator Cotton saying he thinks they were probably trying to turn over the boat. I know enough about those boats to know there was no boat there. It's impossible for there to be a boat after a missile hits that thing. There's debris left of that boat. Those outboard engines are on fire instantly because they're filled with fuel. The fuel tanks are all burning on fire. Those engines are probably at the bottom of the ocean by the time that second strike occurs. But Senator Cotton says he believes he saw them doing things that merited them being killed. What you seem to be suggesting is what you saw them doing might have been a normal thing that people in distress like that do, some kind of waving or signaling for help.
Right. And again, you ask a very appropriate question, and I have a very different judgment than Senator Cotton. But I am not going to reach, a full conclusion until I get all the facts. I just think, again, we're talking about the United States military and an action that could have constituted something that is illegal under the rules of law. We have, many thousands of sailors and troops deployed in the region, many of them home ported from my home state in Virginia. And, I want more to see this. I want these facts to come out.
There is nowhere to run. There's nowhere to hide. There's nothing they can do. Donald Trump, you have been caught. It's just that clear and simple. You have been caught. And we will continue to talk about your deteriorating health. And now that we know that it especially angers him, I couldn't really be more excited to talk about Donald Trump's deteriorating health. It's gonna be a blast. It's gonna be a great time. I think I'm gonna make more videos about it. Honestly, I don't want to brag. I think I may have made more videos on Donald Trump's health than any other political YouTuber. And that is an honor that I will wear with pride, because we need to be talking about this. And I can promise you I will every single day. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video. If you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. Keep on fighting, y'all. Don't let them silence you. And until next time, I'll see you soon.